While at the Motocross Des Nations, Motorvision bumped into Mike Healey, who invited us to his training session at the gym and back to his flat for an in-depth interview. Asking about what he plans to do after his motocross career, his 1991 year in general, the controversial trip to the Japanese Grand Prix, and any changes for '92, Motorvision found the serious and dedicated side to Mike Healey. One of the fittest Grand Prix riders around, Mike was quick to point out that it's taken years to reach this level and that no one should push themselves over the limit in the gym. We asked him about the basics of his training program.
Normally I just do four sets of 10, if I can do it with how much weight I'm trying to lift. But no, I'm trying to put on size. I'm not trying to stay slim. I want to try and bulk myself up now that it's winter, get bigger. That way when I start riding a lot, I'll thin out again and I'll have the strength.
Mike takes his time spent in the gym very seriously, as he sees fitness as one of the most important aspects in reaching his World Championship goal.
I'd love to say I'm world champion, but yeah, look at Donnie Schmidt. He became 125 world champion, and there's hardly anybody that remembers that he was world champion. I mean, I have friends that follow every race I've ever done over here, and shit, they still can't even remember when Donnie was world champion. Even Parker's now two-time world champion, and still no one remembers who Parker is. I'd rather go out and just do my thing. If I become world champion, that's great. And I'm going to shoot for the stars. Do everything I can to become world champion. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There's a reason why. I want to be around, like, after I quit, 1 or 2 years after I quit, if I show up at a race and just one kid or one older person walks up, hey, that's Mike Healey, wow. I mean, that's gonna make my whole day. That'll just make my whole career of racing just worthwhile. Just that someone remembered me for my riding, for the way I am. And to me, that's what it's about. It's not, becoming champion. I'm gonna do everything possible. Don't take me wrong on that. But it's just being with the people of the motocross industries. That's the fun part about it.
What would you like to do after you finish racing?
I like to go back to school. I like to become a sports doctor.
Sports doctor?
Yeah, a sports therapist. There's so many kids coming up nowadays in the younger ranks and schoolboys and stuff, and they don't have any doctors that really know what they're doing. You can go into a surgeon or something like that, but there's really no one out there to help on a level that has been on a motorcycle, that understands the pain, what they're going through, the fatigue and things like that. Because when I was younger and got hurt, I'd go to the doctor and go, it ain't that bad, I've sent a lady out of here, just the other day, and you go get back on a bike, there's things you can't do. But the doctors don't understand that there's certain muscles you use on a motorcycle that they don't know about. Yeah, I would like to give back to, the kids in motocross and sports that I never had. There wasn't any sports doctors around that when I was growing up, that, if I had an injury, I could go to a special doctor that understood about what I was doing, what I was feeling. So I figure if I could become something like that, I think the kids will respect it a lot more. It'll be better for the sport.
Mike finishes his training session with a health drink mixed at the gym before continuing the interview at his flat.
They tell me that you was pretty wound up in Japan. Can you tell us a little bit about Japan?
It was a good week. We went back there early, hung out, met a lot of Japanese people, saw all the sights in Japan. It was fun. Japan's a great country. I couldn't believe it until I saw it. It was just like being home, all the neon lights, felt just like being in Hollywood again. Track wasn't any good at all. But it was a good race. I led both races for more than half the race. First moto, Stanton just passed me because he rode better than me. Second moto, he ended up just taking me out to pass me 35 minutes into the race. But hey, that's racing.
And you didn't appreciate that too much at the time?
No,
it was a world title that was still there to be won.
Yeah, at the time I was pretty wound up. I made it even in my head. I walked over after the race and punched him upside the head and straightened things out on my side. He didn't it too much. There's 3 or 4 of us that went really fast this whole year. And there was no one that took off, so you couldn't say that someone was going to do it because everyone had bad luck this year. There was not one person that took points in every race. And if they did, it was only 1 or 2 points that they made in every race. A lot of gossip going around. I've talked to people in England about putting together teams in England and running championships in the GPs on 250s again through England. But I've also talked to people in Belgium. I've talked to people in Italy. But there's just a lot of gossip going around. It's difficult to say what's going on now. I'm looking for a change, yeah. It would be really a breath of fresh air to have a change. Right now I'm only speaking with Japanese companies.
Later on in the day, Mike Healey was to sign a contract with Sylvain Gabor's Biafra Suzuki team based in Belgium, so his wish was to be realised. But what would he feel about leaving KTM?
I'd rather go back and work with the Japanese now that I've proven a point that I can race and can be a winner and I'm strong enough. I figure another couple of years. I can't see myself over here another 5 or 6, maybe 2 or 3. Hang out, have some fun. Just make a living at it, and hopefully if I invest all the money properly, then I can retire and go on with something else in my life. Something I couldn't do when I was young. When I'm in Europe, that's where my life is in the gym. When I was younger, I did nothing. Through the schoolboy ranks and first couple of years being professional in America, I did nothing. I sat at home on my butt all day long. I went riding every now and then. But when you're young and you're riding, you don't have to do so much work. Because you're just naturally just motivated. But the older you get, it's a lot more difficult. I had a couple buddies that when I started getting older that were bodybuilders, and I just started going with them just as fun and just really got hooked on it. And now it's really a big part of my training. I take it really serious. A lot of people think I'm just a jokester around the track. It's pretty funny. I don't feel there's anyone on the track that's as strong as I am, especially at this point. I've worked hard this year. Me and the KTM Ferrioli team and Graham Kent have we worked our butts off this year. We did everything and anything possible to do what we could. Graham put in 110%, so I figured I had to put in 120. Now the rider's supposed to work that much harder than the mechanic. He made everything perfect as of technically speaking. So I felt bad if I were to let him down. The same way, he'd feel bad if he let me down. If the bike were to break, and it wasn't my fault, then he'd come up and apologize to me and say, hey, I'm sorry, we'll get it fixed. And I made a promise to him that I wasn't going to pull off the track unless I was completely just dead or physically could not ride the bike, So that was just a pact that we made between ourselves as friends, and it pulled off. It worked this year. If I end up on what I want to ride and everything goes right, I think a lot of people are in for a big shock.
So Mike, in a determined mood for 92, plans to be a force to be reckoned with in the highly competitive 250 World Championship. We wish Mike the best of luck and thank him for the opportunity to do this feature.